effort then of the rally rider out of the saddle. Scully once again beginning to fan the flames. He's pouring on the coals. Oh, look at this contrast. And the field absolutely drilling it round this circuit. Oh, it was so close.
Hello and welcome for the 6th consecutive year to the banks of the River Wear and the famous circuit at Durham, complete with its iconic sapping cobbled climb, where the only thing you can say with any degree of certainty is that by the end of tonight's racing the pack will be well and truly shuffled once again. Last time out in Motherwell it was more a question of consolidation than anything else for series leaders Madison Genesis. But it was Team Wiggins who, perhaps for the first time in the series, showed their colours at the front of the race, with Chris Lawless taking maximum points at the first intermediate sprint. Soon after that, the definitive break of the day got away in the three-man shape of Mike Northey from Madison Genesis, Chris Opie from One Pro Cycling, and Christian House of JLT Condor. Those three established a lead and swept up the second sprint between them. In the closing laps, it was a question of when, rather than if, Christian House would attack on the climb to the finish line. With 2 laps remaining, he made his move, and that proved to be decisive.
House has taken flight, and Northey and Opie have no answer to it. Final 50 metres now for Christian House. There it is, the victory salute. He's 5th in the Tour Series history.
A return to winning ways then for Christian House, his 5th individual all-time win, putting him equal with Dean Downing. But when the bunch came in, headed by NFTO's Steele von Hoff, it was Madison Genesis who once again had the strength in numbers on the night. Here's how it looks overall then, ahead of the Durham circuit. Madison Genesis lead by 3 points to One Pro Cycling. Pedal Heaven hang on to 3rd, but they're just 4 points better off now than Team Rally GAC. And I'm delighted to say that the winner from Motherwell has joined us for a quick chat, Mr. Durham himself, Christian House. But let's talk about that last win, because that was Christian House back to his very best, wasn't it? That's how you win races.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. We had a good group going, and I knew they were going to be kind of playing cat and mouse for the overall, because both those teams are the only 2 left in it, really. And I just took my chances with 3 laps to go, and it didn't quite work the first time, but the second time it did, so managed to get away and take the win. Yeah.
Now, tell us about this Tour Series for your team, the defending champions, if you like, but you're kind of in 7th place already, almost out of the reckoning completely, aren't you? And you've had to rethink what this series is about.
Yeah, we had a bit of bad luck from the very beginning. In fact, even before the Tour even started, we had some illness and some injury, again with Felix breaking his wrist, and Briggsy wasn't up to his best. So, we kind of got to that first round, and Felix slipped on the start line of the time trial, and that really, we had to wait for him, and it took us out the race completely. But we've tried to bounce back from that, and we've come away with 2 wins so far, the individual at least, and I think that's mainly what we're going to have to go for.
Yeah, it just goes to show that this Tour Series has changed its nature somewhat, and it's not just a happy playing field only for the UCI teams. There are 3 other teams, the minnows if you like, for whom this has been a very successful few weeks. Now, for the non-UCI teams this year, there is a trophy. Is that a priority now?
Yeah, it always was. I'm sure it was for Starley, I'm sure it was for Sports Grub. Yeah, it's there, but we don't see it as a league within a league. We're here to play with the big boys. So
we had the big meeting last year, and we came up with an extra sort of cake for the non-UCI teams to try and grab. We've been on the receiving end of this 5 rounders, counting with Stephen Bradbury dropping a rear mech literally on the start line at the Isle of Wight. As soon as you have that one moment and you're on the back foot, it's hard to make that ground up.
we all wanted to win it, particularly it's the first time it's been done, so it's nice to be the first team to win that. We continue to put effort in from there, because I do want to try and beat UCI guys, because we are competitive and it is a straight fight.
I think you'll see cracks developing in the other teams, because every dog has its day, and we're about there with the riders.
It's been a huge success story so far. I mean, I know we're only about halfway through, but can you sustain this, do you think, all the way to the end?
I'd like to think so. We're rotating the squad. I've not been overly greedy yet. I mean, they've all worked really hard all winter. I've spent all winter telling them that they can do this and they belong up there, and the guys all believe they should be there. And yes, we're a surprise, and yes, 3rd is possibly a tad higher than I hoped, but I did believe we could fight with some UCI teams. Tactics are helping. We've been sensible. We're trying to work out what works for us. We're not there on luck. We're there on the fact that we're riding hard and all the guys are putting together. So
tell us about the challenges then of facing up as a non-UCI team to, if you like, the big boys on the Tour Series?
Challenges start from the very moment you arrive in the car park and you've got a car and a van. Then you turn up and there's a huge coach, and you know they've got 3 mechanics and 2 soigneurs. But we don't arrive and become fearful of that. We see that as an opportunity.
More so than anything else, it's, you know, having to work, go home after the Tour Series, get up the next day, 7 o'clock in the morning, for example, and then be in work and work the next day. So it's not having that rest, that's the key really.
We've got 2 professional riders, Jack Puller and Adria, the Spanish guy. But the rest of them got day jobs, you know. Some of them work in things like Tesco, and some of them work on websites.
But, you know, I use that, we're a bit smaller, they're a bit bigger, look at their motorhome, sometimes to our strength, to get the guys in the right mood.
They all train full-time, as in they'll do 25, 30 hours a week on a bike. But if it's something you like doing, then it's not so bad, is it?
Yeah, but you know when they said Madison, that's a 5 minutes.
So there we are, the boys in green in particular, Pedal Heaven, making a real impact on this series. And I think from the neutral perspective, it's great to see them sort of mixing it with the big boys. But Christian, how are they doing it? Because on paper they haven't got the big cachet names at their disposal, have they?
I think it's pretty simple for them. It's consistency, and you know they're riding really well as a unit. They're riding together, and you know they're not expending too much energy where they don't need to, and they're just staying in the bunch, and they're all there at the finish.
I guess, by their own admission, probably luck would play some sort of role. I mean, they haven't had a wipeout or a couple of riders getting, you know, at the back for whatever reason, mechanical reason. So that is a factor in this series as well, isn't it?
Well, luck's a factor in all sorts of racing. So you know, yeah, as long as it's on your side, you'll be okay. So hopefully they continue.
Yeah. Now we are back on a circuit that you've won twice already in the past. You won at Motherwell just a couple of days ago. How are the legs? I mean, can you find it within yourself to do it again tonight, do you think?
Yeah, I think at the moment we're on a bit of a roll, you know, with Ed winning on Thursday or Friday before, and I won on the weekend at the Milk Race, and then obviously winning in Motherwell. I think it's just the ball's rolling now, and you know we kind of all feel like we've got a bit of motivation, and you know there's something there. So hopefully we can continue here, and I can either me or even Rich Hanley. You know, Rich Hanley's a good climber, and this is a circuit that'll suit him. And it's attritional, isn't it? You just whittle it down, and eventually the selection, you know, I think forms itself, doesn't it? Exactly, I think so. And again, with one pro and Madison going at it, you know, hopefully we'll be able to play off the back of that, and you know, we'll see what happens for the individual win. You looking forward to it? Absolutely. Hopefully the rain stays off there. Yeah, at the moment it is dry. It's a treacherous circuit, one of the hardest that the Tour Series knows. Let's have a look at it in a bit more detail. A sweeping right-hander away from the start line is just about the only thing which is simple about the Durham circuit. A steep cobbled descent on the back straight leads straight into a 90-degree right-hander and a grinding cobbled climb back up towards the finish. Without doubt, it's that turn onto South Street that will focus the minds and indeed test the brakes of the bunch. It's the most notorious hotspot of them all. A firm favourite with cycling fans from across the north of England, the Polizumi Tour Series returns to Durham for the 6th time. Whether you want to enjoy stunning scenery, get a breath of fresh air, or really push yourself to the limit, Durham is for you. In the Vale of Durham, you will find award-winning attractions and historical gems, or immerse yourself in the history and heritage of Durham City with its famous university and landmark cathedral. On 2 wheels or 2 feet are the best ways to experience this extraordinary county. From the Durham Dales to the Durham coast, you'll discover dramatic landscapes and breathtaking views.
We love welcoming the Tour Series here to Durham. It's a fantastic event. It brings people into the city. It's one of our first events of the summer. It gets people smiling. It's a great way to start our summer.
And it's particularly hard, isn't it, the course?
Well, I've never ridden it myself, but certainly you can see from the effort that the competitors put in. They know when they've got to the end of it that they've been riding in Durham for the last period. So it's great to have a unique circuit here, and we look forward to welcoming the Tour back for many more years to come.
Well, here we are at the corner of Crossgate and South Street at the defining feature of this brutal Durham circuit, this incredibly rapid descent and this razor-sharp turn onto that cobbled climb up South Street. No wonder they call this, quite simply, the corner of hell. Let's see how our riders negotiate it for real in the company of Hugh Porter and Brian Smith.
Well, the field are all together at the moment at the top of this famous cobbled hill here in Durham. This is the 6th time we've been to this course, and it's 1.4 kilometres round clockwise, and we've always had some sensational races. The king, the undisputed king of the course, has got to be Christian House. He's had 2 wins to his credit, and he's in superb form, right in the middle of our shot.
This is the hardest round of the Tour Series. We're on Tom Cam at the moment. 2 cameras on the riders. We have Tom Stewart, Tom Cam, and also later on we'll see Steve Lampier for Rally GAC, and that's a Lamp Cam. So the riders on Marjorie Lane, they'll turn right down Cross Gates, and then there's a downhill section, and then onto a sharp right-hander, and we'll go up South Street. South Street, uphill, cobbles. I think they'll be thinking they're in North Street actually, because it goes steep uphill very quickly. Then right again onto the finishing straight. This is Lawless of the Wiggins team, the 19-year-old from Wiggins, riding well so far in the Tour Series.
And that's Tobin Horton wearing the red and white jersey. Madison Genesis are the current leaders. Coming up to the right-hander that'll line them up for the cobbles, and you can just see 1 or 2 spots of rain appearing on the lens, and that of course could spell danger.
Well, it's been dry all day, and this is what the riders didn't want. You can just see the kind of rough cobbles on this descent. Some ups and downs, and the riders will have to be really careful as we head down to this sharp corner at the bottom where we turn sharp right. There'll be hay bales on the left-hand side, and from the past we've seen some thrills and spills.
Only one place to ride this event from, and that is right at the front. Christian House knows that, and he is near the front. We've got a faller there. Rider has gone down ahead, and there are 2 more riders delayed here nearer the back. Well, they're queuing up here, aren't they? Well, we didn't think that was going to happen on the parade lap.
You see a lot of the riders foot down, nowhere to go, and we are on the parade lap. I think this will all come back together because this is a neutralised lap.
Oh, just to see this again. Well, there was really nowhere for him to go, was there? He stabbed on the brakes, the back wheel, well, left the ground, and he rode right into the rider ahead.
As we see it here from another side, some riders just coming to grief, just in the inside there, and one of the Rally GAC riders, as we see one of the riders has actually hit the camera on the hay bale.
Well, the rider here riding for One Pro right alongside Christian House knows about that problem that occurred, but they of course were not delayed. Now they're coming up once again towards the summit of the climb, and then the motorbike will leave, and then the race will be on for real. But we've already had some fireworks, so what can we expect once the race is on?
Well, everybody knows this race is a very difficult race with that climb, especially with that corner. The motorbike did slow everything down. Everybody's back, but the race is on. Lap number 1.
Yes, away they go. John Mould is near the front, and so is Christian House. They're really eager to get on with this. Mould won the sprints competition in this event last year. Well, this is Marino at the front, the Spanish rider who is representing Velo Stali Primal.
Yeah, he is a climber from the Catalan region of Spain, 23-year-old. First time he has ridden here in the UK, so this course is obviously going to suit him with this small climb.
Must be a baptism of fire for him, because the Spaniards are more accustomed to showing their skills in stage races, but round these tight circuits, believe me, he must be wondering what has hit him. Look at the rain, Brian, it's starting to come onto our lens now.
Well, we did see right from the start. You just see him on the left-hand side, as you mentioned before, Hugh. This is the rider that's won this race twice, and that's Christian House, just in the black and the yellow of JLT Condor, riding it from the front, as you should, in these sort of conditions on this course.
Well, the field is already thinning out a little bit towards the back. That's not the place to be, as we can now see the shot from Tom Stewart's bike, and that gives you an idea of the riders, well, I think, just feathering the brakes and keeping... Oh, look at this, another crash! And that's James Gullen of Velo Stali Primal, and he's delayed George Harper, the One Pro rider who won the hill climb in Aberystwyth.
It looked also that the Rally GAC rider George Pym was involved with that incident as well.
Chris Lawless of Team Wiggins coming through. Now he's a chance to see this again.
It's just a simple sliding out from the rally rider on the inside. Takes out George Harper. 2 more riders from the Sports Grub Toyota team also down, just hitting the brakes, sliding out, and unfortunately this is